What's up, friends of YouTube? Derek Van Diest here with Zaandam Music. In today's episode, we're going to be going over a beat mix, arrangement, and some automation as well. So let's start by taking a look at the beat. So I'm going to play it one time through so we have a good idea of what the beat sounds like. This is the final product. Alright, and that's the beat. So I'm gonna go into exactly why you see some of them are faded and some of them are solid. So here you can see that each channel has either an instrument or a wave icon. So for the 808, we have an instrument, and then beneath it we have the wave sample icon. So what I did is I took the wave file that I programmed in order to create this pattern. So I'll double click it. This is the original MIDI pattern that I used. And what I did is I bounced it in place by clicking Ctrl B on my keyboard, and I bounced that into an audio file. So this is going to be very helpful for the very end when you have to track out all your sounds. And it's going to be helpful in the mixing process when you want to free up some CPU to free up your performance for your computer. So after I have all of my patterns converted into audio files, as you see here, I went ahead and muted the MIDI files so they don't play twice. So that's why they're grayed out. So I did that for each one here, as you can see, all the way down. And the bars, the ones that look like little light blue lines, these are automation files that I'm going to be going over at the end. So these two here are automations, and I also have an automation on the choir. Alright, so now I'm going to go over each instrument that I used to create this beat. So beginning with the 808, I used the same pattern throughout the arrangement. I used a kick, just a standard kick, I think 2 different patterns throughout. I used a snare with 2 different patterns throughout. A clap, and the clap plays at the same time as the snare, so it's pretty much exactly the same. They're layered together. We have the hi-hat, which is the same pattern, but I cut it in half in just this one section here. And I also have an open hat, and it plays it plays with the riser. So I'll show you the riser later. So up next we have strings. I have 2 different types of strings in this beat, and when one isn't playing, the other's playing, and they overlap in certain sections when I want the energy to rise. I'll put them together. So there's 3 sections in the song where they're playing together. So 2 different string sounds. Let's see, and it's the same pattern throughout the entire arrangement. So after that I have a choir, and this is the same pattern throughout the arrangement. I also have some automation that I'll get into later on. And next up I have a piano, and this is like the melodic part of the song, and it's the same pattern throughout the arrangement. I have an arpeggiator for a little lead sound that I have to mix it up in 2 parts of the song. Then I also took one of the leads and reversed it and used it as the intro, and I also put it towards the middle of the beat as well. Let's see, I also have bells, so I switched it up in the very middle. I have a breakdown. Instead of having it towards the end of the beat, I put it in the middle just to be a little different. And up next we have the sound effects, which is a basic riser, and I already have it here. I never did the MIDI for it, I just got the WAV file from a pack. And let's see here, the next one is the automation, which I'll get into at the end, for the filter, and I have that playing 3 times. And then I also have a tape stop effect for the intro and 1 time in the middle. Alright, so now I'm going to get into the arrangement. So this is how I went about thinking, my thinking process when I went about arranging all the sounds. So first I started with the intro. I wanted it to have a tape stop effect, so I'll play what that sounds like right now. So as you can see, it just abruptly ends there, and then it kicks back up for the next section. So that's I thought that would be a unique way to start the beat. And for the first verse, I went straight in with the 808s, but I left the kick out because I wanted to add that energy later on. There we go. I introduced the hi-hats. So every four bars, I'm trying to introduce a new element. So as you can see, I introduced the 808 with the strings and synth, and instantly I put in the hi-hats to add another element. Now after that, I'm gonna put in everything together. So I'm gonna introduce the kick and the snare, and then I'm also gonna drop the synth sound and the choir to balance it out. So let's hear what that sounds like together. Okay, so one thing that really helped that transition is also the riser effect that I have down here. so that it builds up energy just before that change. And I also have an open hat that hits right after the riser. So let's hear what that sounds like one more time. So it kind of transitions into the next part of the beat. So as that verse plays out, the energy goes back to the synth. We have that playing in the center, the same as before, but with different elements. And we introduce a new sound here towards the end of that verse. Also note how I have both strings playing at the same time. So then I drop one of the strings to lower the energy a little bit, and then here I drop all the drums. So only the 808 and the instruments here. Now I take the 808 out and play the drums with a new element. Now the bells are playing. Alright, then the filter comes in just to switch it up a little bit every 4 bars. Tape stop. Back to the drums. Or the hi-hats come in and the kick as well. So here I drop the drums. And I also introduced the intro reverse loop here as well. Riser helps transition to the next part. Building up, the hi-hats come in with the filter. And then I also gave the rapper a lot of room here to be melodic. Alright, and it basically plays out like that. The same elements from before, both strings playing. It's a little different this time. Everything's going at the same time here except the hi-hats. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm looking for a way to bring the elements down to a close. So I drop the snare. Drop the kick here. Just the 808 and strings now. And then I put just the strings playing now. Tape stop. Alright, and that's how I went about arranging this beat. So up next, I'm going to show you what I did in the mixer. So here we go. And I'll go through it kind of quickly. So I have a FabFilter Pro Q, and this is what I did to it. Took out the lows, a little bit of the highs, and rose it up just before the dip. I also have a compressor here, side chain to the kick. Alright, okay, and that is my only bass. I have it routed to the bass channel, bass bus channel. So the kick, I have that on the drum bus channel. Here's what my Q looks like, low cut, high cut, a little bit before that dip. And I have that side chain to the 808. Up next I have the snare. This is also on the drum bus, and all I have on it is a low cut filter here, a little bit of a high shelf, and a little dip here in the 300 Hertz area. Alright, the clap also routed to the drum bus channel. All I have is a low cut and a little bit of a dip on the high end here. Hi-hat is also routed to the drum bus channel. All I have is this low cut. Open hat, all I have is this low cut. And I also have it routed to an echo. I have an echo effect that I'll get into later. So it's routed to that, so it has a little bit of a delay. Alright, next I have strings, and the strings are routed to my string and choir bus channel. So I have a standard FabFilter low cut and a little bit of a low high shelf here, cutting out 10 dB. I also have an Ozonate imager with the mid-range presence to boost up the mid-range in the stereo width. Alright, and for my strings B, the second set of strings, I also have that on the string and choir bus channel. And for this one, I have a low cut and a little bit of high shelf here. And I have another Ozonate imager with the same preset. Okay, for the choir, I have that routed to the string and choir bus channel. And I have a FabFilter low cut, a little bit of a high-end shelf. I have an Ozone imager with enhanced space preset. And I also have an instance of Glitch 2, and I'll show you what that sounds like here. So if you caught it there, it's very subtle towards the end there. I have it on automation, so I'll get into that later in more detail. So that's the string and choir, and next we have the piano. This one is routed to the melodic bus channel, and I have quite a bit on here. I have, let's see if it opens up. Alright, I have a bandpass that I created myself from the Pro Q, so low pass, high pass. I have a crystallizer from Soundtoys with this preset, fifths. And I have a pan man that is panning the sound from the right and left at this pace. So it goes to the beat. And it's not too much, it's kind of like half. So it's not too powerful. I'll show you here what it sounds like. I'm gonna solo it. Let me find it. Trying to see why I can't. Oh, okay, I know why. Because that was the instrument, I had it muted. So, we're taking a look at the WAV file for the sound. So let's hear what it sounds like. So if you're wearing headphones, you can hear it better, how it's panning to the right and left, and also the crystal effect at the high end. Alright, so that also has an echo. It's been routed to my delay FX, and I'll show you that later. So the next one is the ARP, and the ARP is also routed to the melodic bus channel. And I have a standard low cut. And I also have a crystallizer with the great doubler effect. This is also going to the echo delay FX. So let's hear what that sounds like. Alright, now let's take a look at the reverse. That's what I called it, but it's a loop that I just reversed. So I'll solo that. Alright, and that has a standard low cut. And I also put an Ozonate imager with the enhanced space preset. And I also have an echo delay on that, and it's routed to the melodic bus channel. So for the bells now, we have, I'll solo it here for you guys so you can hear it. Alright, so that I have a low cut filter here. I also have a crystallizer with the muffled up octave preset. And I also have an ozonate imager with spacious high end, because I really want this to fill up the high end. I also have an echo effect, the delay, on there, and it's routed to the melodic bus channel. And up next I have the sound effect, which is the riser. This is routed to my FX bus channel. And all I have on this one is a low cut. And I also have this routed to the echo delay FX. Okay, so that's all the instruments. Now let's move on to the FX. I have a plate reverb, I have a hall reverb, and I have a room reverb. And I'm using my favorite settings, Valhalla. For the hall, I'm using Valhalla Vintage Verb, very nice hall. For room, I'm using Altiverb 7, SARM West Studios. For the Panman effect, I'm using Soundtoys Panman, and this is the default. So I also have an Echo Boy, which is Ambience Echoes preset, and this is the echo delay for all of my instruments. Well, the instruments that I have routed to this effect. So here we have the bass bus channel. On this one, all I have is an ozonate imager to remove the mono, or to make the bass mono, I mean. And I also have a room reverb on there. The same one, the Altiverb 7. Next we have the drum bus channel. And I have a decapitator with the drum fattener preset on the E style with a little bit of drive. I have a plate reverb and the room reverb on there. Next we have the melodic bus channel, and on there all I have is the room reverb, and it's a little over halfway in level. So for the string and choir, I have a room reverb, and I also have a hall reverb with quite a bit of hall reverb on there. Alright, I haven't used the vocals yet. I'm waiting for the rapper to come in for that. And FX, this is the FX bus channel. And all I have is a room reverb with quite a bit of reverb. Alright, and then up next we have the filter channel, which is routed to the mix bus here. And on that filter I have an auto filter, which I'll be getting into shortly here with the automation. So I have an auto filter that is automated within the beat to give it a certain effect, and I'll show you in a second. So filter bypass, I don't think I have anything on there. I'm not using it for this project. And mix bus, nothing. Oh, I have the tape stop, so I have that automated as well. I'll show you that later. Alright, so now let's get into the automation. So after I got all that mixed up and arranged properly, I was thinking about what to automate. So since I mentioned the tape stop, let's start from there. Let's close this real quick. Alright, so let's look at the tape stop. It's this light blue one here. So here is the tape stop effect that I was using. KHS tape stop. This is kilohertz. And it's very simple to use. It has a stop time and a start time, and this is the button that I automated. So in order to automate something, all you have to do is click whatever it is you want automated, or adjust the knob, whatever it is you want, and then press on the top left here the hand button. So see how it says play KHS tape stop? When I click edit automation, that's when it's going to create this automation track here. So it'll say play in this drop down window, so I have play for the automation. So if I have it all the way set at 100%, so you can see the lines all the way at the top here, it's going to be playing. If it's at 0, it's going to be completely off. And then anything in between is slowly turning off. So I have it here at the beginning automated to dip towards the very end so that the tape plays and then slowly cuts off into an abrupt ending here at the end. So let's hear what that sounds like. So you can see it's very quick. It drops fast and then it picks right back up for the next section. So that's the automation for the tape stop effect. I also have that playing in another section of the song. So I'll show you here. I have a filter automation and the tape stop playing at the same time. So let's hear what that sounds like. So as you can see, it sounded a little different because it also had another effect on top. So I believe I also have one more tape stop here at the very end. So this one has a different curve, so it's going to sound a little bit different. Here's what it sounds like. See, it kind of slows down a little bit slower than the previous sections. So that's what I did with the tape stop. Let's look at the filter now. So for the filter, I wanted to add a new element without adding any more sounds or instruments. So I wanted to do hold on, let me open it up here for you guys. Alright, so this is the auto filter I used, and I adjusted the cutoff and I switched the filter to analog, 12 dB here. And I put it on this setting here. Let's see, this one here. So it's just a straight line, so that so it cuts off at the speed that I want it to here, at the speed of this curve, if that makes sense. So as same as before, I don't have it playing anywhere on this section. It's at 0 volume, and I have it rise in volume only in the section that I want it to affect. So I'll show you what that sounds like here. So it gives it that nice little effect here for just this one section, just to mix it up a little. So I have that in 3 parts. I have another one here. Let's hear what that sounds like. Alright, and I have one more in this section. Alright, and also one thing to note is that I have that filter set up in the filter bus channel so that everything is routed to that filter, so it affects all the sounds. If I wanted one of the sounds to avoid that, I would route it to the filter bypass so that it wouldn't have that filter effect. Alright, so I have one more automation here. Just for a little bit extra effect on the choir, I added a glitch too, and I showed you that previously. So I added a retrigger and a tape stop towards the end in unison. So as you can see here, it's in the same spot as the tape stop, so that it just adds a little bit more of an effect to that tape stop. That's all it's doing, is adding a little bit more of a tape stop effect to the tape stop. So I have that playing here in the beginning tape stop. And let's see, I believe that's it. Or in the middle, I have it playing here in the middle. And I also have it playing in the beginning. So at both of the tape stops in unison. So I'll show you what that sounds like here, and I'll solo it. So as you can see, it's very subtle. And I believe that's it for the automation. Alright, so that's the mixing process for me. After this point, I would try to get those vocals in. According to the vocals, I would make adjustments to the arrangement. And basically the next step would be to master it. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something new today, and I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Take care.